YouTube, we are back. All right, we're going to continue today with JUT SAU and LAP SAU. We're putting these two energies together. Go to, again, Clint Cloy's Indianapolis Wing Chun's channel. Clint is going to cover, I asked him to cover Lan SAU, and I think I asked him to cover Wu SAU as well, too, and maybe one other. So Clint's going to cover those two. A couple announcements to make. Go online. I'm going to put the links at the bottom of the screen. Jai Harman is having a seminar for Wang Zaipeng, which is, I mean, holy cow, that's going to be awesome. And I'm going to put his number. If you're over in his area, I'm going to put that down there. That's if you know who Jai is, he's got some great Wing Chun, and his Sifu is amazing. So I'm going to put the link down there. But he's got a seminar coming up November 2nd and 3rd. It's going to be in Six Villages Sports Center in Chichester. That's going to be over in Europe. So I'm going to put the link down there too. If you didn't see it, this is really quick. I had a conversation with Mark Fried. Mark's got his YouTube channel, Kung Fu Secrets, and he did this video initially on why people hate Wing Chun, and it got a lot of our attention months ago, and he made some great valid points. So on my LinkedIn page, I put a video that was the Fuxao video that caused all the disturbance in Wing Chun, and Mark happened to put his 2 cents in. I want to read you the quote that he put in the comment that got me to contact him. I contacted him. He did a video. I spoke to him yesterday on the phone. We spoke for about an hour in length. I'm not going to tell you about our conversation, but I will say that I'm seriously blown out of the water with his unbelievable practical knowledge. He is an American who lived in China, who studied in China, and the things he was telling me, I was so impressed with. And he's a brand new mentor for me. I think the guy's incredible. So once again, Mark, thank you for your kind words. When I did the Bong Sao video, or excuse me, this is, I got wrong text. Here we go. So Mark put up a comment that got me impressed with his insight. All right. And again, too, this is not my words, these are Mark's words. So I've never been to China, I've never trained in China, and I don't know anything about the Chinese culture. I'm a typical big mouth Italian who loves to be all animated. But Mark says, in China, everybody tries to justify everything intellectually. There's virtually no actually fighting among the general public. Some, but by Western standards and considering the huge population, it seems like nobody ever gets into fights when you live there. Some think, quotes, wow, this would be good in a fight, and then when they come up they come up with a way to justify it. Everything in Wing Chun can be used for fighting. It's just if you get into a real fight, very little of it will be used for fighting. Still, you never know what will be moving, or what move will be the one to save your life, so it's good to know as many as you can. I thought that was a fantastic statement. That was, why we take a movement where if Matt punches, straight in at me, and the Fuxao, I'm going to control this first and then punch. These movements, again, in my opinion, they're all circumstantial to everyone on the planet. Samuel Johnson teaches Wing Chun in Chicago too. He's a monster. He's over 6 feet tall and he's got long arms. So if this punch comes out here, Sam can absolutely control a Fuxao and come in. He's got distance. Little me, if I'm dealing with Sam and I'm here and he's all the way back here, it doesn't make sense for me to Fuxao and control something with a monster who's so far out of reach. Okay, that comes into Jump SAU and JUT SAU today. The Jump SAU, LAP SAU and Jump SAU. So JUT SAU, I'll get these straight one of these days. LAP SAU is pulling energy. Okay, in the form, it's everywhere. Pulling elbow back. After every movement, we Tan, Yun, LAP SAU. JUT SAU, jut. You jut in, it's a jerking hand. In my personal experience and personal opinion, I think that it's very foolish and irresponsible to invite more aggressive energy with bigger than you coming into you. When you saw the video I did with Martin, who's the giant, who's 6'6", and you saw this punch comes out here, and I go to pull him in, this movement, this pulling in no matter how tight, what you're doing is you're sending one hip back one way, one hip the other way, and if Matt decides to come in and face me, go into me as I'm pulling you in, it's going to take me off balance. So square up, I'm going to pull in, and you step in. Now granted, this is not live, and if you notice, we didn't do a beginning opening video for this where we did a demo where Matt punches, and I jut, punch, lop, punch. We could have done that easy. Okay, punch, jut, punch, lop. It's not going to happen in a fight. But if, like everything else, if I learn to shift 90 degrees from here to here and then 180 degrees, and again, I'm not insulting lineages, but you look at William Chung's lineage, they either step 45 or they shift only 45. We do the full end of the 90 and 90 so that if this is what we need in a fight or this is what we need in a fight, they're there. They're all there. So going back to the context of that, Lap Sao, we train to lop and punch. We are amplifying our hit, clearing and hitting. So we are taking that hip energy, boom, coming in and hitting. So it's like, instead of a car hitting a parked car, it's a speeding car hitting a speeding car and it's coming on in. No one's gonna leave their arm out for us to lop. And you can relax there for a second. But doesn't mean that once contact is made, that we can lop a little, clear, and hit. But that also looks like the JUT Sao, the jerking hand. Here, in my opinion, for the split second they're used, they're the same thing. The same energy. It is pulling for as little as you need to clear that line. We just talked about arm bars, how you won't see, and we do reflex drills, you're not going to see this working too well. As a cop, working in bars, in my personal opinion, being a very small man, this, if you have an aggressive guy, this is not going to work. You're going to stay here for half of a second, he's going to move, and you're going to move. But, doesn't mean that you can't lop and jerk that hand out of the way, jump Sao energy, JUT Sao energy, whatever you want to do, just for 1 second to transition to the next. The problem with a lot of Wing Chun is we're hung up on these arms. The goal, and this applies to law enforcement too, this is a little bit of segue, when I teach cops, it is, we go for handshake controls or whatnot. You control this, get this behind the back. When you wind up seeing excessive force violations, the issue is because as cops, we're so hung up on this that we forget that the arm is controlled by the shoulder is controlled by the body. You have this mass to deal with. Cops are in a different mindset. They can't exactly hit all the time, but they've got to be able to control. When you are just controlling this, you're not affecting this. If you change the mindset from dealing with this to going to this, the second I feel any resistance, I'm just going to transition. Same thing with your Wing Chun. All these things are concepts, they apply. So instead of lopping and hitting, I may just clear a little to hit a little bit more. This, in my opinion, it's not going to work because everybody knows that those arms aren't going to be there. Matt's leaving this out here for me. In an actual application, I go to lop and Matt pulls. Well, the whole idea of me pulling and striking at the same time is foolish, again, for me. I would rather always go into someone, always keep coming in, disturbing their balance, so that if Matt pulls in or gives me energy here, instead of clearing with a punch, I'm going in and always attacking in. It's just dangerous. The best way to find out is to have somebody give you an aggressive pressure. Get into sparring, chi sao, anything. And if you can pull somebody aggressively who is giving you serious resistance, then you can make lap sao work. Personally for me, I don't like lap sao. I can't make this work and expect to deal with it. But I can, if he punches, clear a line, lap sao, and hit. I can, if he punches again, jerk and hit and transition somewhere else, jerk and hit. I'm not going to leave these movements and try and hit. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Punch, boom. He's throwing a punch, JUT and hit. Nah, they're half movements. They're messy. They're supposed to be able to use them in context. So it's all post-context. You relax that. It's all post-context of wrist to wrist. Not going to JUT and Bill G. It's not in the form that way. You're not going to lop and punch. You're pulling hand can be this much, can be this much, can be this way. You're just clearing something out of the way. But again, we all know, are you going to leave this hand out here as I go? You're going to move it back and hit. So if I'm trying to, in a sweaty guy, bar fight, whatever, I try to pull this and he moves it, and my intent is already going back that way, you better have this energy firing forward. You keep coming in, now I've got to come back in and recover right away. What I love about Matt is newer to a degree, and he's not going to give me clean energy. It's not that typical Wing Chun center line. He's got brawling, fighting, stiff, muscular energy. He's not going to lop that. Hey, Tony, you asked a question before about, do you remember your question 10 minutes ago?
No, but I got another question.
Ask away.
Can you use the JUT Sao in a braking motion of the arm in that situation because you're in contact already?
Here, breaking it?
Yes.
Well, you would love to think so. As long as your body's behind braking, yes. But again, just like I said, going back to law enforcement, you are not concentrating on this. You got to hit right away. Okay, that's our Wing Chun to get more bigger aggressive energy. And again, everything's gonna go back to that bridging. Okay, though if you don't spar in Wing Chun, you're not gonna pressure test everything you got. And I know I'm going a little bit long-winded on this, but when we come into Chi Sao, you're looking at I've got outside control, he's got inside control. I've got inside control, he's got outside control. Okay, that's what that is. It's a safe place to start. But if I had Chris on a video versus Matt, and Matt punches, I can stop Matt because I can match him strength on strength. Okay, I can be this. Chris might be punch. I may have to absorb a little bit, get that bridge going, and then go in. So my tactics will be circumstantial to what the other person's giving me. Again, if you could picture Martin Frasham from the one video I did, 6 foot something, you saw where pulling in a lop sao is not going to work on him, but stopping him with forward energy is. And if you're Samuel Johnson and you're 6 foot plus, you can lop sao great. Tony is a little bit shorter than me. Yes, I can lop sao Tony. So these movements are all circumstantial to your partner and you. Best thing I got out of being a cop was circumstances dictate tactics. The JUT sao, what was the question?
Is the JUT sao the same thing as, does it have more directions? Forward or backwards, down and up?
So we talked about breaking out of the mold, and this is what I loved about what Mark said was that people they justify things just to justify things. I asked them, but I'll ask you guys, pak sao slapping hand. How many different ways are there to pak sao? Infinite. Okay, how many different ways can you jerk a hand out of the way? Is it simply just this, or is this an idea? You're gonna tell me that I'm all the way out here, that's not a jerk? To transition somewhere else, that's not a jerk to come in somewhere else? They're just, it's like a juke in football. You go this way, you go that way. So you can do it any way you want. My lop saus, whenever I was in contact, I prefer lop saus up closer. Look, he's not gonna let me do this. He's got power. Matt's a strong fucking guy. I'm pulling in, he's not gonna let me do this. So I have to go to the different angle. Change up. It's a split-second movement if someone's gonna leave their arm out. But again, 2, what if I go to pull and the arm's not there? Well, I better hit. Okay, that's why I'm not a big fan of doing the JUT sao or lop sao movement, because they are thought that the hand's gonna be out here. You're gonna have to be able to clear that. I prefer going in all the time. Always keeping forward pressure. It's just too dangerous to try and pull. One hip goes this way, one hip's going that way, and then you're dividing your energy. The very first move in the first form, both energies go forward. It's just something to look at. And in the future, we're going to go over the forms, how we do them, and then the context behind all the forms, why we're doing them. So I know this is a little bit long-winded, but again, in my opinion, lop sao and JUT sao, it's jerking hand, pulling hand. I think they're just a little too dangerous to pull in an actual fight. You do not want to invite a bigger, stronger energy into you. Okay, it's just my 2 cents on that. And most of us are dealing with it all the way out here. You get a little bit closer, you can pull the hit. He's not going to give me the stuff, but it better be a transition to go somewhere else. All right, that's our whole 2 cents on that. Any other questions on that, Tony?
Nope, that's good.
All right, we'll see you on the next video.